Hello, it's a lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight: street vendors defy GARRY NKOMBO'S directive to vacate the streets. Parliament approves 2022 national budget. President HH urges new ZNS officers to serve the land diligently. In international news, Libya Electoral Board suggests January 24 for pause. And in sports news, Man United boss RALF RANGNICK requests Premier League to reinstate 5 substitutes rule.
To all our Camnet viewers, my wife and I are saying thank you for watching this broadcast 24/7. We have tried to bring our best. We've tried to inform you, to entertain you and educate you. And to all of you that pray for this station, for all of you that watch this station, we can only say, may the Lord God Almighty be with you. Compliments of the season. May God bless you over and beyond, even in this coming year.
Well, we are grateful for all the support, as my husband has said. We realize that some of you, our dear Camnet TV viewers, it's the first time you are celebrating this season without your dear ones because they've gone to rest. To you, we say, please be comforted. The Lord is still on the throne. May God richly bless you. Let's continue keeping on, and Merry Christmas with a prosperous New Year.
Keep watching Camnet TV. And remember,
Camnet TV is not just another channel.
Welcome back. Another news in detail. Street vendors in Lusaka's Central Business District have continued trading on the street despite a directive from the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to vacate the streets with immediate effect on Wednesday. They have told Camnet News that they will continue selling while risking confiscation of their commodities, as they have not been given an alternative solution to their problems yet. Some have suggested constructing 3-story markets to accommodate more traders and reduce the number of vendors on the streets. More in this report.
According to data from the International Labour Organization ILO, about 70% of Zambians are in the informal sector. This group, which mostly comprises of women and the youth, have been engaging in various income-generating activities, such as selling various commodities. This, however, has led to street vending, which has been frowned upon mainly by local authorities, citing an increase in poor environmental sanitation brought about by street vending. The matter has been highly contended, as street vendors have demanded market space, stating that available markets are few to capacity. On Wednesday, street vendors were chased off the streets by Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Mr. GARRY NKOMBO, who demanded that they leave the streets with immediate effect. However, Thursday, 23rd December 2021, a check by Camnet News in Lusaka Central Business District has revealed that the vendors have continued selling on the streets. They say they are willing to risk getting the property confiscated by the local authorities, as they have no alternative trading spaces.
They should consider coming up with 3-story markets so that they accommodate a lot of marketeers, because they are just destroying spaces. Like, for example, City Market. That space where City Market is just too big. If they were to make a 3-story building kind of a market, it should have accommodated a lot of people. Now they are just spoiling that space.
In fact, for us, we are waiting for the government to relocate us. Because at first they told us to pay 250 kwacha so that we find ourselves the slots at Simon Mwale. And that's what we are waiting for now. We are not saying no to vacate this place, but let them give us the slots at Simon Mwale. We'll go there.
And every day we pay vendor tax, which is 5 kwacha. Where have we gone wrong? Because we have agreed to be paying and we are collecting our money. We have the receipts, which is our proof. So we are waiting for the council or the government to reallocate us where we are supposed. These are the receipts that we have, which shows as a proof. We have receipts. So we want them to tell us us. We are parents. We've got dependents who are looking up to us.
Then to the fire government, you have to step in power. Then you have to put on a places to go because if we to the pansi, then it takes but to raise a pansi, put to Fumeni.
Meanwhile, Independence Ward Chairman in Lusaka CBD, Mr. Ngambela Kavela, says he will engage the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to reach an amicable solution over the plight of street vendors.
Urge our people that they should remain calm. We will still try to engage the minister on the best possible way on how to conduct this exercise. We need to find alternative places for them where they're able to trade from. That's when we can relocate them. Or we give them some time for them to prepare so that we can find them slots so that where they can, maybe they can go to Chachacha or Freedom Way. But just remove them abruptly. These people, this is where they're surviving from, to take care of their families and also to take their children to school.
By broadcast time, local authority trucks could be spotted around the CBD as local authorities have been instructed to confiscate property of anyone found vending on the streets. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Democratic Party has warned a party faction led by Judith Kabemba against undermining the party's ability to effectively compete in the forthcoming by-election in Kabwata constituency. Speaking during a media briefing in Lusaka Thursday, Deputy National Chairperson Precious Ntambu has advised the faction against issuing statements or receiving applications for adoption on the party ticket ahead of January 20th by-election. Mrs. Ntambu adds that they have reported the matter to the police for alleged impersonation. Meanwhile, Mrs. Ntambu says so far 6 applications have been received from people wishing to contest the Kabwata seat on the DP ticket. Patrick Soko has more in this report.
Democratic Party Deputy National Chairperson Precious Ntambu warned the group led by Judith Kabemba to stop masquerading as members of the party. Speaking during a media briefing in Lusaka Thursday, she claims that what the other camp is doing is tantamount to impersonation and obtaining money by false pretenses for calling on people intended.
Former National Secretary, and I want you to get it clearly, he is the former who served in 2014. And as 2018, I took over as the Secretary General of the party. And so he's gone ahead to issue statements, to make announcements that they're actually advertising to have candidates put in letters, apply for the same by-elections and all. And so we as Democratic Party have actually taken a step because, as you know, that is actually masquerading, not only masquerading, but also impersonation.
Amidst these party wrangles, the party is confident of scooping the seat.
This coming by-election, which will be held on the 20th of January 2022, we will be putting in a candidate in Kabwata constituency. We are participating actively. As Democratic Party, our groups are actually dispatched on the ground and doing the mobilization and semi-campaigns just to put all together as we look forward to winning the elections on 20th of January 2022. Kabwata seat, so far we have 6. Yes, 6 have actually applied. You all know that there was even a refute from the 3 that Mr. Nyoni had not applied. Well, he has applied and we have had interviews with him. So he's one of those participants that have actually applied.
For now, we'll wait and see if the party will manage to file in nominations slated for 28th of December 2021 for the election slated for 20th January 2022. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD President Nevas Mumba has charged that the Patriotic Front PF is not in a position to condemn the ruling United Party for National Development UPND over the removal of subsidies as they failed to adequately handle the matter of fuel when in office. In an interview, the MMD leader says the PF should have been doing constant reviews on the trends of fuel on the international market and making necessary adjustments which would have prevented the sudden increase. Meanwhile, Republican Progressive Party RPP Secretary General Mr. Cassius Akapelwa says the long-lasting solution to Zambia's fuel woes is to invest in local oil entrepreneurship. More in this report.
The removal of fuel subsidies has been a heated topic in the country due to its direct impact on citizens. Following the increment in fuel prices by about 4 kwacha on petrol and by about 5 kwacha on diesel, bus fares for both local and long-distance routes have been hiked. This has left citizens complaining, expressing fear over the anticipated increase in the price of commodities due to the same. Among those who have been airing their views are officials from the former ruling Patriotic Front PF, who have been challenging the ruling United Party for National Development UPND over its promise of lowering the price of fuel. The Movement for Multi-Party Democracy MMD, however, says the PF are not qualified to comment on the matter, as they did not ensure that the prices of fuel are reflective of changes on the international market during their regime. In an interview, Party President Dr. Nevas Mumba says constant adjustments in line with changes on the international market would have saved the country from the seemingly sudden increase in fuel prices.
In terms of what we did that as MMD. When we came into government, we removed subsidies from over-bloated institutions and sectors of society and moved that money in empowering individual initiatives, which is a public sector-driven economy. And I think that there's nothing wrong with it. It has come at a difficult time being Christmas and festive season, but these are issues that probably may not wait. So I do not think our friends at the Patriotic Front, should be the ones to lead this assault. I think what PF should be doing now is withdrawing, going into some kind of retreat in a camp to rethink about how they treated the Zambian people.
Speaking over the same matter, Mongo Central Member of Parliament Mr. Oliver Amutike says those against the move should look at it from the positive side.
So government now wants to be prudent to use this money in the right way. This year alone we are employing 30,000 teachers. We are employing 11,000 healthcare workers. We are employing agricultural extension officers who go and help farmers so that we can be more productive in farming as a country. So that's what government wants to do.
Meanwhile, Secretary General of the Republican Progressive Party RPP Mr. Cassius Akapelwa says the long-lasting solution to fuel problems in the country is to invest massively in local oil entrepreneurship.
Kapesika group of companies, it's been involved in an oil business. Let us support them. Let us support all those Zambians that are involved in the oil business so that every money that is generated remains in the country and empowers all the cooperatives that have declared interest to get involved in the oil business. Without that, we will forever be crying over foreigners taking over and running and interpreting how our economy should run.
Stakeholders and citizens are monitoring the performance of the economy as the new administration has promised stabilization in the long run. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Patriots for Economic Progress, PEP, has challenged the United Party for National Development, UPND, to clear corruption allegations in its administration instead of focusing on what it terms as witch hunting of officials from the Patriotic Front PF party. Addressing the media Thursday, PEP President Mr. Sean Tembo says the matter in which a contract of delivering fertilizer to Southern Province by a company in which it is alleged that the husband of Information Minister Chushika Sanda has shares in has not yet been clarified to the Zambian people. He has also accused the ruling party of failing to handle the coronavirus situation in the country properly by failing to adequately sensitize citizens on the need to get the coronavirus vaccine. More in this report.
The United Party for National Development UPND administration has come strong over its message of zero tolerance to corruption since being voted into office on 12 August 2021. The new administration has employed investigative wings to carry out their duty diligently and bring all culprits to book, while emphasizing that there will be no political interference in their work. The Patriots for Economic Progress PEP however, has alleged that the UPND is not being honest in the fight against corruption, alleging that there are corruption allegations even in the new administration, which should be addressed. Addressing the media Thursday, PEP President Mr. Sean Tembo says up to now, it is not completely clear under what circumstances in which the company Minister of Information Chushi Kasanda's husband has shares was engaged to supply fertilizer to Southern Province. Mr. Tembo alleges that on the other hand, officials from the former ruling Patriotic Front PF are being summoned to the police every other day and being arrested.
We have seen that all the cases that are being publicly investigated are cases to do with the past regime. And yet, we have allegations of corruptions in the current regime. To start with, we have the issue of the fertilizer contract, the $50 million fertilizer contract for 50,000 tons of fertilizer. The first allegation there is that there were other bidders who had far lower bids than the person they awarded. And the second allegation is that that person is the husband of a minister.
The PEP leader has also advised the new administration to choose the path of increasing sensitization on the need to get vaccinated in the wake of increasing cases of the coronavirus. He states that putting up restrictions for people who have not been vaccinated may not yield the desired results, as people will feel harassed.
So that has been our argument, to say the new Dawn administration has not been handling this COVID-19 issue properly. They have not been leading by example. They have been leading by threats and intimidation. And you cannot lead people with threats and intimidation. You need to carry people along. And that has been lacking. And this fourth wave of COVID-19, we don't know how hard it is going to hit us.
He has further implored the new administration to seek the path of maximizing revenue from its natural resources instead of borrowing. Meanwhile, when contacted to respond over some allegations made, UPND national spokesperson Mr. Cornelius Muta promised to call back, but did not do so by broadcast time. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, has cautioned some businessmen in Ndola on the Copperbelt against using UPND youths to fight their personal battles. Earlier this week, property was damaged by the United Party for National Development, UPND cadres, who stormed Zambezi Portland cement plant, damaging properties and accusing them of being in possession of opposition Patriotic Front PF regalia in their containers. UPND Copperbelt Vice Youth Chairman for Politics, Kangwa Kamondo, alleges that issues surrounding Zambezi Portland cement border on businessmen attempting to use politics to protect their fortunes. And Walen Hinyama, the UPND acting Copperbelt Youth Chairman, tells journalists that acts of violence have no blessings of the party. More in this report.
These are traces of the fracas earlier this week at the Zambezi Portland cement in Ndola Copperbelt. Our understanding is that issues are both political and business in nature among rivals with vested interests. Various properties were destroyed at the cement plantation. Suspected United Party for National Development UPND cadres stormed the plant, accusing management of being in possession of opposition Patriotic Front PF regalia in their containers. However, during Tuesday's address to the press, Zambezi Portland Chief Executive Officer Gomeli Litana refuted the claims of being in possession of PF regalia at the campaign premises, adding that their interest is to conduct business and contribute to the national tax base and job creation.
Thinking they are being protected by someone somewhere, the law will visit them. Exactly. Always together, sir. Thank you so much. My job is to make sure the company produces cement, sells cement, pays salaries, taxes, which the government needs. Second accusation is that we are keeping PF thugs here, PF regalia. Without a warrant. I have allowed the DC and the party officials to start an investigation now, and we are going container by container to check for that PF regalia.
But UPND Copperbelt Vice Youth Chairman for Politics, Kangwa Kamando, alleges that issues surrounding Zambezi Portland cement border on businessmen attempting to use politics to protect their fortunes.
The CEO for Zambezi Portland, Mr. Gomeli Litana, and the guy managing that NATO forces, Simon, ordered to beat the youths that went to Zambezi Portland. We've since lost a life, and we have a lot of injuries resulting from that. So we are appealing to government to look into the affairs of Zambezi Portland and ensure that the people that murdered the young man are brought to book. They are known, their names are known, and the leader for that NATO forces, the owner of the company managing that NATO forces, is also known. His name is Simon. So Gomeri should not come today on TV and start saying his duty is to produce cement and sell cement. He's been inclined to political maneuvers more than anyone else.
And Party Copper Belt Youth Chairman Warren Hanyama tells journalists that acts of violence have no blessings of the party.
So far, so good. We have seen there's no cadalism in the markets, no cadalism in the bus stops, meaning our youth, they are heading to the core. Therefore, we want to ask the disgruntled businessmen who want to use the youth in the name of the party. We know there are a lot of people, criminals now, who have dressed ready, who have become UPND overnight. The same people who humiliated our youth, the same people who fought our party or in opposition. This time around, they have become more UPND. And these are the people now who are taking the youth in the name of the party to do criminalities like what has happened at the Zambezi Portland Cement. We want to condemn and we want to ask those people, if they want to be politicians or to become politicians, let them come to the arena.
One only hopes authorities will resolve the matter amicably to avoid reoccurrence in the future. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The National Assembly has adopted the 2022 national budget and has since adjourned sine die. The over 173 billion kwacha national budget was approved after weeks of deliberations by members of parliament. It was the first budget under the New Dawn government led by President Hakainde Hichilema. The budget came with new dimensions, including the highly pronounced Constituency Development Fund (CDF) allocation. Finance Minister Stumbeko Msokotwane presented the budget on October 29th, which was themed Growth, Jobs and Taking Development Closer to the People. Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, thanked the members of Parliament for actively participating in the business of the House. Chadiza Member of Parliament Jonathan Daka has alleged that the Auditor General's report for the financial year ended December 31st, 2020 shows a clear case of theft in the agriculture sector due to numbers that are not tallying. Speaking during the Public Accounts Committee meeting Thursday, the Chadiza lawmaker says cases in the agriculture sector, such as the Farmer Input Support Program FISIP, raise a lot of concern. The committee was dissecting issues in the agriculture sector, which includes the awarding of fertilizer contracts, among other issues.
I don't know why this committee is laboring to extract answers from the controlling officer, because, Chair, this is a clear incidence of theft. Any normal thinking person, even a child here, will notice that there's something wrong with this transaction. $84 million cannot be equivalent to $16 million. Very simple logic, a very simple Chair. I think we are just wasting time, Chair, to keep on pressuring the controlling officer who wasn't even there to give us answers. It's like you want to extract blood from a stone. Chair, I think we just need to make a decision. Well, let's make our decision. The committee needs just to make a decision in favor of the Zambians who are disadvantaged by officers who are entrusted to preside over matters of the country. Very poor farmers. Most of these MPs are coming from constituencies which the predominant depends on agriculture. Our people have got an annual income. And if here in Lusaka, officers who have been entrusted to take the responsibility to take care of our poor people, they become such a responsible, Chair, this committee should be in the forefront to show them that actually they don't deserve to be in these offices.
Republican President Hakainde Hichilema says government is in the process of constructing decent accommodation for the men and women in uniform under the Zambia National Service, ZNS. President Hichilema says ZNS is a key national institution that must assist the country to achieve maximum development through its programs, among them agriculture and youth skills development. He was speaking when he officiated at a pass-out parade of 290 officers in Kafue on Thursday. Meanwhile, ZNS Commandant Lieutenant General Maliti Solochi is confident that the cadet officers will perform according to their expectations. More in the following report.
And appoint you to be officers in the Zambia National Service.
Thursday, 23 December 2021, saw 290 cadet officers of intake 04 of 2020 having graduated from the Zambia National Service Kafue Training School. In order to achieve the implementation of equitable provincial quotas during recruitment, ZNS wants to build and effectively promote ethnic balancing in the defense team. These cadets seen here were selected and trained as military officers for 12 months to specialize in different fields under ZNS, amongst them professional doctors. Republican President Hakainde Hichilema graced the occasion with an assurance of improving the conditions of men and women in uniform, especially accommodation, which is said to be a challenge.
Putting decent housing, you touched on it. Again, we talked about it, decent housing for our men and women that carry such responsibilities on their shoulders for the rest of us. We care for them, care for you, we care for them, we feel for you. And we will talk about this going forward, more than what we discussed, to see how we can enhance that. Especially the ability of our national service to construct bridges at a cost that is affordable, to construct roads, and I think from there we can be interoperable with that.
The president says in order for the officers to perform accordingly, there is need for them to get comfortable.
Cut out this wastage and save resources and allocate some of those resources to such institutions as national service and indeed other service wings and needy areas, other needy areas of the community. This is our background. This is part of the value we bring to public sector, and we intend to utilize it. But we don't own it. You are all experienced. You all know things.
And ZNS Service Commandant Lieutenant General Maliti Solochi has urged the new officers to guard their jobs jealously by being top performers.
Apart from that, theft, absenteeism, laissez-faire, and lazy attitudes, and other such detrimental vices will equally have no room in our establishments. Hence, we will not condone them. If anything, whenever and wherever these traits will rear their ugly faces, they will be dealt with sternly but fair.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The COVID-19 pandemic in the country has continued to rise with increased hospitalizations and persons requiring oxygen therapy, as reported by the ministry in charge of health. Health Minister Sylvia Masebo has noted with concern the increase in the numbers of people dying due to COVID-related complications, among them children, cancer patients and pregnant women requiring hospitalization. Of the total number of COVID patients, 73% of the persons hospitalized are unvaccinated against COVID-19. Mrs. Masebo has since stressed that vaccination remains an effective control and prevention measure, and adhering to the prescribed COVID-19 prevention public health and social measures by observing the 5 golden rules. Meanwhile, in the last 24 hours, 3,380 new COVID-19 cases out of the 13,341 tests conducted countrywide have been recorded, giving an overall national positivity of 25%. You're watching Camnet TV News, not just another channel. We'll take a break, we'll be back with more news.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the... She has so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here
Global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow! Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
For over 24 years now, we have constantly been working to ensure that we deliver products and services to communities, cities, nations, the continent, and the world at large, offering solutions in the energy sector, mining, telecommunications, health, transport, construction, cybersecurity, agriculture, and printing. Savenda has been at the core of it all in ensuring that it helps in bringing social and economic development to its loving people. We value your support, and as we look forward to the year ahead, would like to thank you for the support you have given us. The Savenda Group of Companies board, management, and staff would like to wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2022. Savenda, Save Nations, Develop Africa.
Hi there! SGK Properties wants to remind you that there will be life after the festivities. That's why we are here right now presenting you an opportunity to invest in what will literally last you a lifetime. We have various plot sizes in Kabangwe area, just 6.7 kilometers from 6 miles roundabout. Plot sizes range from 20 by 20s, 25 by 20s, 30 by 20s, 35 by 20s, 40 by 20s, 40 by 23s, and 40 by 35s. We also have 1 acre plots located in Lusaka West, 22 kilometers from Lumumba Road on Mungwi Road, going for 180,000 kwacha. Remember, the option to have your dream house or passive income investment property constructed for you with modern finishes and quality care is also available. For more details on acquiring these pieces, contact us on 0762 166018 or scan the QR code you see on the screen to access us on WhatsApp directly. SGK Group, serving generations through knowledge.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. The Federation of Free Trade Unions of Zambia National Women's Chairperson Charity Tembo has welcomed the pronouncement by government that in the first term of 2022, it will start the free distribution of sanitary ware in schools countrywide. Speaking to Camnet News, Mrs. Tembo says this will promote girl-child education and compete favorably with the boys. She adds that the girls miss almost 3 weeks of class in a month due to poor non-availability of sanitary ware. Meanwhile, Mrs. Tembo has requested government to ensure that schools have water, which she says is essential to managing hygiene.
Federation Women's Committee, we are very excited with the pronouncements that were made by the new Dawn government that they are going to distribute free sanitary towels to the girl child that is coming the first term of 2022. That is a welcome move, and for that we commend the government, because this actually would say it has been over long due. And if you look at what has been happening in the past, a girl child has been absent in schools because of not having sanitary towel. But with the move that has been taken, it all entails that the girl child will not be absent and will fully participate in the attendance and of course other activities in the school. Mainly in a term, a girl would even lose out 21 days, if I may estimate, not going to school, and that is loss in terms of education. So with this brings out retention to some extent, and of course these are the girls that will of course help the country in building in any way and stuff like that through the education that will be acquired in school. So with that move, we commend government, but at the same time, we are also requesting government to move in so quickly so that the disposal of these sanitary towels is worked on. And from our committee, we are suggesting that if incinerators can be erected in all the schools, I'm sure the decency and of course hygiene will be at its peak, and the girl child will be very happy.
Lusaka High Court Judge Mwaka Mikalile has dismissed the matter in which Robust Trailers and Bodies Limited had sued Professor Nkanduluo as the chairperson for Tasinta Programs Board for seizing its property on disputed rental arrears amounting to 113,700 kwacha. Judge Mikalile has thrown out the case on grounds that the matter is not properly before court and she has no jurisdiction to proceed to hear it. More in this report.
The matter in which a Lusaka-based company was seeking an order that the court restrain Professor Nkanduluo, the former Patriotic Front presidential running mate, from seizing its property on a disputed rental arrears amounting to 113,700 kwacha will not be prosecuted further following the decision by the High Court to strike out the case. The judge who was presiding over the case, Mwaka Mikalile, in a ruling, says the case is not properly before court and she has no jurisdiction to handle it, hence dismissed it. According to an affidavit in support of originating notice of motion that was recently filed before the Lusaka High Court, a managing director at Robust Trailers had submitted that on the 1st of December 2011, the company and Professor Luo entered into a liaise agreement in relation to stand number 1638/2716 Malambo Road, Lusaka, at an agreed rent of 15,000 per month, payable 3 months in advance for a period of 5 years. However, to their shock, on October 14, 2020, Professor Luo wrote a letter indicating that Tansita was signing up new tenants and frustrated the liaise agreement, further submitting that in November 2020, the workshop was flooded because part of the roof was ripped and was not fixed by Professor Luo, despite being aware. Robust Trailers Limited had further submitted that Professor Luo later caused a disruption in the supply of electricity, which disturbed their business in operation. After taking this action, this made the company run to court for an order for stay of sale of goods seized in distress, pending arbitration, and contended that the money being claimed by Tasinta through their chairperson, Professor Luo, is incorrect, as the outstanding amount is 46,000 kwacha. Despite the matter being dismissed, the court has granted the party leave to appeal. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A South African-based company, Brisk Fast Limited, has sued its 250 Zambian truck drivers in the Industrial Relations Division Court in Lusaka, seeking an interim mandatory injunction that the court orders the drivers to surrender all the trucks they have in their custody. In an affirmative in support of an ex-parte summons for an order of interim mandatory injunction, the company, through its consultant Davis Mainga, states that despite the company informing the drivers that it will pay them their arrears, they have refused to release the said trucks. Meanwhile, the drivers have submitted that they can only release the trucks once an assurance is made that they will be paid their terminal benefits. More in this report.
About 250 Zambian truck drivers who are operating under a South African-based company called Brisk Fast Limited are hoping that justice will prevail in their case. The drivers have been dragged to court by the said company in the Industrial Relations Division Court in Lusaka, with the company seeking an interim mandatory injunction that the court orders them to surrender all the trucks they have in their possession. However, the drivers have submitted before court that they can only release the trucks to the complainant provided that they are paid their gratuity, night out allowances, and risk allowances. Recently, Economic and Equity Party leader Chilifyatali had called on relevant authority to ensure that the plight of the drivers are heard.
Nothing. So this guy, he can be bragging to say, no, I would rather pay a judge. He's dead wrong. You have got a right cause. It's your money. You worked for it. I must pay you. And they are scared that if they release the trucks, they will lose the money. And indeed, this should not happen. These people cannot release the trucks because these trucks are South African. If this guy gets the trucks, he takes them to South Africa. He's a Chinese. Do you think they will get the money? They can never get the money. They can never get the money. Therefore, I think the new dawn, so far, I think things have been very good, but I think you need to help these people. They will lose out. And it's a lot of money we are talking about. Some of them, on average, each of them is being owed about 300,000 kwacha. That's a lot of money.
In an affidavit in support of an ex-party summons, the drivers have submitted that on the 8th of November 2021, the South African government made a policy statement to the effect that no foreigners would be allowed to drive a South African registered truck and that they would soon be taking the matter to Parliament so that the policy pronouncement would be made into law. They have stated that following this pronouncement, South Africans began to attack foreign drivers and some of their colleagues were killed, and this caused fear in them, leaving their company proprietor, Kelvin Young, to travel to Zambia, where a meeting was held at Force headquarters and agreed that the drivers would be paid their separate package within a week. The drivers have, however, lamented to the court that despite the complainant being advised what was due to them, he refused to pay them as he came up with his own figures, which was unreasonable, low and unfair. The case continues before court. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Mumba Council Chairperson Charlie Masumo has called on state-owned telecommunications company Zamtel to erect more network towers in the district to avert network challenges in the area. Mr. Masumo regrets that people most often go to specific areas to access network, a situation he said must be addressed. Speaking when he officiated at the launch of the service center in Mumba, he has expressed happiness that the firm has taken services closer to the people. Zamtel Acting Chief Commercial Officer Mr. Keith Banda reaffirmed the company's commitment to improving the consumer experience.
I am Mark Mochari, the council chairperson, and today opened this service center so that it can be used to deliver services to the people of Munga. We appreciate your efforts to bring network to Munga. Let me remind you that some of the parts in Munga, some of the areas in Munga don't have network. So we urge you, Zamtel, to bring all towers to these areas so that people in Munga can access this network. Some people in Munga travel long distance just to access network, and to some extent, some even climb on until that just to find network. So I urge you to work with district management here in Munga so that we take towers to such areas.
Zamtel is the only company, the only telecom company owned fully by Zambians. It's for Zambians, and therefore being Zambians, we must support it. All the money that Zamtel makes still remains in Zambia. Therefore, we should be very proud of this organization. During the course of the year, we've been able to open 100 shops across the country, which means we've been able to recruit 100 entrepreneurs, each of them recruiting at least 5 people. That's almost 500 people employed by Zamtel itself. Zamtel also this year has been able to do some work on the network. I'm sure you've seen improvements in terms of your call quality, in terms of your data, in terms of your call and voice. We've also launched a number of products.
This is Camnet TV News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with international and sports news after the break.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, chew me.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Welcome back. And in international news, Libya's election commission is postponing the country's presidential poll, which was supposed to take place on January 24th, a month later than scheduled. The High National Electoral Commission's decision came after concluding the presidential polls could not be held on Friday due to disputes over the rules and candidates. The move is a setback for UN-backed process which sought to end the chaos unleashed in the 10 years since the downfall of leader Muammar Gaddafi. Al Jazeera's Malik Traina reports from Tripoli, Libya. In other news, a Tunisian court announced on Wednesday 4 years in prison for former President Monsef Marzouki. According to local media, Marzouki, described as a fierce critic of President Kais Saied, was sentenced in absentia and accused of undermining state security abroad as well as causing diplomatic damage to the state. At the beginning of November, a Tunisian judge issued an international arrest warrant against Marzouki. Here's a roundup of international news.
Just 2 days ahead of what had been scheduled as the first round of a presidential election, the High National Elections Commission released a statement suggesting polling be postponed for a month to January 24th. More than 2.5 million people had already picked up their cards for the December 24th vote. But the whole process has been marred by controversy about rules and regulations. Many say without a constitution, a presidential election will only lead to more division and conflict. It's now clear it won't go ahead as scheduled. Adil Karmous says the delay was expected.
We were expecting that the elections weren't going to happen on December 24th, but now setting a new date will also be a contentious issue. From a legal standpoint, the Parliament must agree with the High Council of State on a new date. The question now is, how long will the postponement be for? And will they come to an agreement on a constitutional framework?
According to a previous political agreement, the parliament based in eastern Libya and the High Council of State in the west must agree on a constitutional framework to hold the elections. That never happened. Here in this coffee shop in Tripoli, some people tell us they don't think a presidential election is the way forward.
As far as elections are concerned, I think we need to have parliamentary elections first and then a presidential one. The parliament has been in power for several years and they haven't done anything.
I'm happy the presidential elections aren't happening. To hold elections, you have to have a foundation. Our foundation is a constitution. If we don't have a constitution that identifies what kind of governing system we have and the powers a president has, how can we vote for a president?
Libya has seen 10 years of political divisions and conflict since the revolution that toppled Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The international community has painted presidential and parliamentary elections as the only way to unite the country. But without a constitution or legal framework, many here believe a presidential election will only further the conflict. Malik Traina, Al Jazeera, Tripoli.
Members of religious and civil society groups in Senegal are supporting a proposed bill that will criminalize homosexuality in the country, which is set to be debated by Parliament in the coming weeks. Though it is not illegal to identify as a gay in the deeply conservative Muslim nation, but same-sex activity is already punishable by up to 5 years in prison. All of Senegal is behind this bill. It is good that the United States, Canada, France and Europe know that. This is a matter for the Senegalese people. With the support of religious leaders, movement leaders and youth, this bill will undoubtedly be passed in the National Assembly because it is a social demand for us, Senegalese. The bill aims at amending the penal code to issue a sentence of up to 5 to 10 years imprisonment and a fine of between $1,800 to $8,000 without the possibility of parole to anyone found guilty of unnatural acts.
A Tunisian court announced Wednesday 4 years in prison for former President Moncef Marzouki. According to local media, Marzouki, described as a fierce critic of President Kais Saied, was sentenced in absentia and accused of undermining state security abroad, as well as causing diplomatic damage to the Tunisian state. At the beginning of November, a Tunisian judge issued an international arrest warrant against Moncef Marzouki. The arrest warrant was issued 2 weeks after President Kais Saied ordered an investigation into statements made by the former president. Speaking to news agencies, Marzouki's lawyer said that the former president had not received any summons to appear in court.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, RALF RANGNICK offered a positive update on his squad after a COVID-19 outbreak saw their Carrington training ground shut down and back-to-back league matches postponed. The Manchester United caretaker boss wants the Premier League to reintroduce the rule allowing teams to make 5 substitutes. United are one of many sides to have experienced a COVID-19 outbreak this month, seeing matches against Brentford and Brighton postponed, as well as their training ground shut down. The Premier League is meeting managers and captains on Thursday afternoon to discuss how best to manage player welfare as fixture congestion becomes a big issue, confounded by the busy winter schedule. To end Camnet TV menus, we'll take a look at stories making headlines once again. Street vendors defy GARRY and NKOMBO'S directive to vacate the streets. Parliament approves 2022 national budget. President Hakainde Hichilema urges new ZNS officers to serve the land diligently. In international news, Libya Electoral Board suggests January 24 for pause. And in sports news, Man United boss RALF RANGNICK requests Premier League to reinstate 5 substitute rule. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, coming from Matthew 2 verse 10 to 11. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed beyond measure. Entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and falling to their knees, they worshipped him. When they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Thank you for watching Camnet TV News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.